Alright folks, so with this Snare Saturday video, I wanted to showcase a drum that was donated to one of my schools. And this is the perfect time to include it in the Snare Saturday series, because let's just say it's the sibling of the Ludwig Acrolite. What's going on everybody, Nick Costa here, and in this video I am going to be showing you the Ludwig Standard S-102 aluminum snare drum. This was another affordable option that Ludwig came out with to once again provide drummers with something that might be a bit more affordable than the other options at the time. Now before we dive into this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button as well as the bell notification. That way you're notified of any additional content that I upload to the channel. So before we start diving into the drum itself, let's talk about that Ludwig Standard line. At the time, the Ludwig Standards were designed to be a more affordable option compared to the other drums that Ludwig created. Ludwig was able to do this by offering the same lug on all of the drums, regardless of if it was metal or wood. And it's safe to say that the Standard series was more of an intermediate level drum. However, they had a pretty amazing sound. So the Ludwig Standard Aluminum, also known as the S-102, was something Ludwig designed to be even cheaper than an Acrolite. So to think about it, you have the Ludwig Superphonic, which at the time was a chrome over aluminum shell. It also had 10 imperial lugs on it. So to cut down costs, they made it a raw aluminum shell and put 8 bow tie lugs on it. That's how the Acrolite came about. Now with the standard aluminum snare drum, it's a little bit different. Instead of it having a bead in the middle of the shell, it is a straight shell. And instead of having 8 bow tie lugs, it has 8 lugs that are a whole lot different, pretty minimalist design because it was less work hours in order to buff them before they had to get chrome plated, which allowed Ludwig to have a lower production cost, which allowed them to lower the price of the drum. And since this shell in particular was a flat shell, it didn't have the bead in the middle like the Acrolite or the Superphonic, they could use this lug on any other straight shell. So any of the other Ludwig Standard snare drums that were made out of wood use the same exact lug, which once again allows them to lower the production cost. Now before we continue with this episode, I wanted to let you all know about a snare drum contest that is going on. The Pennsylvania chapter of Percussive Art Society is holding a snare drum competition. And all you have to do is submit a video of you playing a snare drum solo in order to win a prize pack that includes a bunch of goodies from some of the corporate sponsors of Percussive Art Society. And we're talking about goodies from Zildjian, Vic Firth, Evans Drumheads, Pure Sound Snare Wires, and Canopus. Now those are just the companies that have provided stuff at the time of recording this. So it's pretty simple. The snare solo was written by Pennsylvania percussionist Sean J. Kennedy. He is also the secretary of the Pennsylvania chapter of Percussive Art Society. So record yourself playing that snare solo, and if you do so by May 4th, you're eligible. But I do have to say one thing. There are 2 divisions of this contest. Now Division 1 is ages 18 to 21, and Division 2 is 18 and under. So sorry for everybody who is over the age of 21. This is a contest that we wanted to run for drummers who are also students. Now, since there are 2 divisions, there are 2 prize packs. And besides the age requirements for this contest, you also need to be a resident of Pennsylvania. So if you are under the age of 21, you should totally try out for this. If you want more information, I put a link to everything that you need in the description below of this video. So if this is something that you're interested in, give it a shot. You have till May 4th to submit your video. And with all of that being said, let's get back to the episode. So let's talk a little bit more about the specs of this drum. Like I said, it is a raw aluminum shell, but instead of it having a bead, it is a straight shell. This drum has 8 of the Ludwig Standard lugs. These are double-sided and in the middle of the drum, triple flange hoops on the top and bottom. And this drum in particular has the Ludwig P83 throw-off. This drum also has the internal damper. This is the round puck damper that has the round knob on the outside as well. So as you can see, this drum is in pretty rough shape. Most likely this drum was purchased for this school, hence why they engraved the name of the school right above the badge. And since they weren't using it anymore, the drum was donated to one of my schools. And rather than just throwing it into the classroom the way that it was, I decided to take it home, clean it the best that I could, put brand new heads on the top and bottom, and new snare wires. And since this is pretty much the sibling of a Ludwig Acrolite, I know my students are really going to be into it, especially when it's in those higher tunings. So since it looks a whole lot better, this might motivate them a little bit more. So just like every other video in the Snare Saturday series, I'm going to play this drum in a few different tunings. Since it does have an internal damper, I will play in each tuning with the damper disengaged first, then I will engage it so you can hear the difference that it makes. And since this is an aluminum shell, I'm gonna see how high I can get this to tune, because a lot of people believe that these standard lugs aren't as durable. So let's find out together. And with that being said, enough of me talking, let's dive into the playing. as you can hear, it is a very similar sound to the Ludwig Acrolite, most likely because it is an 8-lug drum, it is a raw aluminum shell, and it does have triple flange hoops on it. But if you did watch some of those earlier videos from the Snare Saturday series where I was showcasing Acrolites from the 60s, 70s, in the late 90s, early 2000s, I'd love to get your feedback and what you thought of this drum, and if you believe it sounds the same as some of them. So make sure that you leave that in the comment section below. Now, if you have any additional questions, maybe on this drum in particular, or other drums from the Ludwig Standard series, maybe you're curious about my cleaning process, feel free to leave those questions in the comment section below as well, and I will try my best to answer them. Now, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see some of the earlier videos from the Snare Saturday series, I put a link to the playlist in the description below, and to make it a little bit easier, I will have it pop up right here. Finally, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure that you give it a thumbs up. That way it makes it a little bit easier for others to find it. And that is it. Thank you so much for checking out this video on the Ludwig Standard S-102 aluminum snare drum. And until next time, see you later.